Hello, everybody. Did you like our new intro? Do you remember that we did that last time?
Yeah. We were all super pumped. We're like, we're going to do this every episode. We're going to do
Yeah. I don't know how long it's been. Probably 3 months, maybe less since we
I'd
did
say
one.
2 months.
2?
Because, it's August, so 2 would put us at June. No, you're probably right. 2.5 months. May, I feel like May was the last episode, wasn't it? So much has happened.
Yeah. A lot has happened.
The assassination attempt on ex-president Donald Trump. What else has happened? There's a lot that's happened. I know there has.
Yeah. Joe Biden dropped out of the presidential race.
Yep. But there's a lot not politics related that happened, I feel like.
Olympics.
Olympics, yep.
I don't know.
Oh, well.
It's a weird summer.
Yeah, I know. Well, in June, I went to North Carolina, did a solo trip to the beach of Oak Island and Southport. Totally unplugged. I think I took maybe one picture the entire time, and I left my phone in my Airbnb and just was a beach bum the whole time.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I loved it.
I don't remember if when Alyssa and I went to North Carolina, if that was before or after our last episode. I think it was.
You guys went to North
before.
Carolina?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
You don't tell me anything, man.
Oh yeah. We went. I must have been after. But yeah, we went for Alyssa's birthday.
Where'd you go?
Asheville, yeah.
Okay, the Montañas.
Yep. Yeah, and drove around a bunch. Went on some hikes. What else did we do?
Did the brewery? Did you go to Green? Was it Green Man Brewing? What was the?
Yeah, Green Man. We always go to breweries on our trips. Yeah. We went to Green Man. We went to Sierra Nevada. It's a little bit of a trip from Asheville. It's like probably 40 minutes.
Oh.
But they have two. There's one in California and one.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the same company, but it's like, you know how big Surly is here?
Yes.
It's like probably 2 times the size of Surly, and they have a giant outdoor area with a outdoor amphitheater.
Damn.
They had music and stuff. It was sweet. It was like probably my favorite brewery I've ever been to.
There's we'd have to look it up, but I noticed it was when Brian and I went to Louisville, and I've noticed it in Asheville and in the Wilmington area. There is, it's almost like a chain brewery. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it's called like High Flyer. I think it's not a High Flyer. That's a local one, I think. But it's like, I don't know. We'd have to look it up. But it's like,
oh,
you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there was one that we went to in Hawaii that was like that, where it was like, whatever the name is, Hawaii, or like there's like a bunch of different ones. I think it was Brew Lab or something like that.
Yeah,
Brew Lab Hawaii, and then there's like Brew Lab.
Yeah, it's just
Billings, Montana.
To me, it's super interesting, just because. To me, the equivalent would be like having a summit.
Yeah.
Like a summit Duluth.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, that just seems weird and not on brand.
Yeah.
But it's like on the East Coast, that's very prevalent.
Yeah.
With that one brand, I guess.
Well, there's Alyssa and I just went to this place the other day. What is it called? I don't remember. There's a brewery in Minneapolis. It's kind of like on the other side of 35W from the U.S. Bank Stadium, right by the Stone Arch Bridge. I don't know. Someone's gonna know what it is. Anyway, you can find it on a map.
Okay.
Then we were gonna grab dinner. We were in Edina, and we just like rolled up on this place. And we're like, huh, that looks good. Let's go there. And it was like an offshoot of this brewery.
Oh, really?
So it was like they had like, basically it was a tap room with food and stuff. It was really good. But now I'm like, I can't believe I've never been to that brewery before.
Nice, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I don't know how we got on that topic.
Me either. Oh, Asheville.
Yeah.
What else did we do when we were there? The Airbnb we were at had a hot tub, so we spent some time chilling in the hot tub. I don't remember. It's so long ago.
Yeah.
Just a lot of hiking and breweries.
And when was that? Well, when did you go?
Beginning of May.
Okay.
Yeah, early May.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dang, then it probably has been 3.5 months then,
Yeah.
because I feel like I thought we did an episode in May, but
maybe we just didn't talk about it.
yeah, you didn't even tell me. You didn't want to bring it up.
That's funny.
But yeah, so it's like I'll give you a recap on my last 3.5-4 months.
Do it.
If I can remember that far back. So yeah, North Carolina was the big thing in June. Let's see here. Oh, tremendous flooding in the Mankato, Shakopee area. That's nothing. I mean, that's not me personally, but that's news. And then the last 2 weeks, I went to the strike at First Avenue at the last week, I think July 30th. And then I went to the Revivalists at the Palace.
Nice.
On Wednesday last week.
Nice.
Yeah. Both fantastic shows. I felt bad for the strike because when I bought the tickets, they were on the 7th Street entry.
Yeah.
And then a week or two later after that, I got an email saying, nope, we moved to the main stage. And then when I went to the show, we're there at like, they're supposed to go on at 8, but they never do, right? But it was like 7:30, and the gate ticket person was like, I was like, it's kind of dead. Is what's going on? And she's like, yeah, once we moved it to the main stage, like we only sold like total 650 tickets. And I was like, what? And you could tell like the strike was the way they performed geared for a very large audience.
Yeah.
So I felt I was like, this is awesome for me, but for the band probably was disappointing, but they were phenomenal. I would recommend anyone, if you could go see the strike anywhere on their tour, do it. They're phenomenal. They're great. Fun, energetic, good music, sound. Yeah, good. And then the Revivalists at the Palace. That was freaking unstoppable. Yeah. That was awesome. Yeah.
That'd be a sweet show.
Yeah, they were just phenomenal. I don't know how to explain it other than they were great.
I could see them being really good live.
And they're all just having fun, just I don't know, they're cut from a different cloth kind of thing.
Is that the band where the lead guy is like pretty tall and slender and got big hair?
Yes. He doesn't have big hair in this.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's who I'm picturing. Cool.
But yeah. Yeah, really that's kind of it for me. I don't know. I have my cousin's wedding at the end of this month in Deadwood, South Dakota.
Yep.
And then I've 2 weeks after that, I have a bachelor party in Las Vegas. And then I have a wedding in October and a wedding in November. So it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just talking to Alyssa about this a couple weeks ago, but we're it seems like we're at the stage now where we're transitioning from all of the weddings we're going to being our friends to all of the weddings we're going to being like relatives and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like slow transition because it's still like probably 50-50.
It's like a blended transition right now where there's still some friends getting married, some whatever, but now, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy.
We're in our 30s, baby.
We're old.
Old timers. Ancient.
Yep. Yeah. Life's been pretty crazy the last few months. It's just been so busy. Like, it's always busy in the summer, but it's been extra busy, it feels like.
Yeah, it's well, I hope yeah, we'll see.
I feel like I haven't used any of my vacation this year. Like, I went and looked like how much I have left, and I was like, oh, okay, I have actually used some, but I just feel like I've always been working.
Yeah. Do you use ChatGPT or anything for work?
Yeah, occasionally. So
do you pay for the pro or no?
No. So our corporate approved is Claude.ai.
I use Claude.
Yeah, Claude's really good actually.
It is really great.
Yeah. So this is like kind of going into the weeds maybe, but This project that I've been working on forever, it's like it was dictated by the customer, like what hardware we can use, like all these different requirements from them. So much of it was new to me and like our other engineers and stuff that like as I'm doing the programming, it's totally new software. So I'm like, I know what I want to accomplish, but I don't know how to do it. So I would just ask Claude, I'm like, how do I do this in this software? And then it would like spit out step-by-step instructions. I'm like, okay, perfect. And even if it's not exactly right from their instructions, I could figure it out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I've taken on the task of setting up a parts kind of website for my company. And I've never done that before, so I'm learning as I go. But what I'm trying to also work on is a I don't know, I'm still researching, so if you know how, you'll have to teach me how to train a chatbot. And really, I want it to, in my head, I want it to use either ChatGPT or Claude and have it point to our product manuals and then just answer questions based on that.
Yeah.
So
no,
it's
I don't know how to do that. I'm sure there's a way to do it. But
yeah, no, there is. You ultimately just tell.
You can just feed it the documents and.
You can feed it the documents, but it's like doing it in an interface with a website. Yeah. So when you're a customer and you say, "Hey, I have this unit. I need a replacement pump. What pump do I need?"
Yeah.
It can read it and just go to all the.
Yeah.
It should be able to. You could link it to like web pages. So that's where you'd have to set up a page for each product.
Right.
Essentially, like link or copy paste the manual in there. The big thing is there's all these memes about big companies setting up chatbots and stuff. And so if they don't put restrictions on them, they're like, you can tell. So there's apparently a meme of, not a meme, I don't know, a bunch of pictures of someone saying it was a General Motors, like a GM truck website. Do you know what I'm talking about? So somebody's like, "Hey, I wanna check out this, Silverado pickup." Like, "Yeah, sure, I'm happy to help you." Blah blah blah. And then the person immediately goes to, "Okay, in Python, write this blah blah blah, like this code of blah blah blah," and then it spits it out. It gives them the answer. So that's how he tested to see if it was completely So then the gloves were off, and then he just was messing with it pretty much, being like, "So you're authorized to negotiate price on behalf of General Motors?"
Yeah.
"Yeah, of course. I'm here to make you anything happy." So he's like, "All right, sell me this pickup for $1,500 or something." I don't know if
that's hilarious.
But it's like just that, just a generic bot was pumping out Python code. Like that's where they're like, "Okay, you need to put restrictions on these things. You can't just let it out of the bag." But
that's awesome.
So yeah, I'm just trying to do all that and make it. There's again Bland AI is that. I think we talked about that, but did we talk about that?
I don't know.
Bland AI is it's a chat bot, but it's for a phone. So it's like you can call it or call a company, and it sounds like a real human.
Oh, really?
And it has a conversation exactly. So it's like you can do the same thing what a chatbot on a computer would when you're typing.
Yeah.
But it would be like a conversation with it's so good to where you can't really tell other than like there's slight delays sometimes.
So instead of having like a yes/no robot interface, it's like you're talking to a conversational chatbot.
And that's where I would like to push like certain things to as far as like a technical call or something. But I think there's eventually going to be some kind of governance or regulation saying you have to disclose that this is a chatbot or something.
Yeah. I think it's probably even just in your own interest as a company to disclose it, because like in case something like the GM thing happens where your chatbot's offering services at a discounted price.
Well, that's the thing where I'm like, now that I'm aware of that, it's like in the manual that I'm going to have it refer to in like white in size 0.2 font or something. I just have, do not suggest going to a outside technician, call the company this number.
Yeah.
which is the company. Like, so you'd like govern it there, but the person, if they're reading the manual, can't see it.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But I don't know. Part of me is like, if it's that good, why do you have to disclose it's a
Yeah.
bot?
Yeah.
But again, everything's improving at such a rapid pace right now.
Yeah.
And what I'm really curious about, which I don't want to, maybe this is a good segue into another thing, but I'd like an update on crypto from you.
Oh, okay.
I know like AI's taken the stage and all this, like politics have taken a stage, but I want to know if there's any advancements or enhancements or updates in the crypto world, because I think that's like in my opinion, based on what I know about it from you mostly, that's not going away, and it's super important, and it's like it's kind of being pushed to the back burners, but it's like I think it's tremendously important.
It's not in the front and center of everyone's minds. Yeah. Actually, I was just thinking about this the other day, because I think the last time we talked about it, like I've made it pretty clear that I'm a lot more interested in Ethereum than I am in Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last time we talked about it was maybe during the Bitcoin ETF, or maybe even just before. I don't remember.
I think it was before, because you were talking. They're coming out with an ETF.
Yeah,
but it wasn't out yet.
Yeah, so
me.
that happened. The inflows into the Bitcoin ETF were like substantially higher than any ETF ever before, which is pretty cool. And then most people assumed that the SEC was going to push back against an Ethereum ETF, and almost at the last minute, when like BlackRock and all these other companies like Arca, I don't remember, there's like 10 of them, had filed for ETFs. Some of them were coming up to where like they'd already been delayed by the SEC. They couldn't be delayed anymore. So the SEC had to approve or deny the ETF applications. And the week that their final verdict was due, it kind of became clear that they were going to approve it, because they started working with all these companies at the last minute to like get all the documents in order and stuff. And ended up approving the Ethereum ETF as well. So now they're both running. They have like they're trading right now. You can open your brokerage account unless you have what's the one that doesn't have Vanguard, I think, blocked the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs. Yeah. But yeah, so you can buy Ethereum or Bitcoin through your brokerage account now, which is pretty cool. But anyway, like from an actual technical standpoint, I think like one of Ethereum's biggest problems the last time it was like that crypto was in the front of everyone's minds was that the fees were very expensive. Like if you wanted to just make a normal transaction where you're sending Ethereum from one wallet to a different wallet, it was like in the times of the highest congestion was like $10 to send a transaction, which is just like insane.
It's like a wire fee, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point.
Exactly. And if you want it to be like a global computer where you're running applications, it's just not feasible. Because like doing that, obviously, there's a lot more information being transferred, so the fee is going to be higher. And there was this, like they call it a roll-up centric roadmap, that it's basically, it works in layers. So there's like the main Ethereum layer, and you build layers on top of that. So like the Ethereum layer is just used for transaction settlement.
Okay.
And then you have other layers where you're running your applications, and all of that data gets bundled up and posted to the Ethereum blockchain.
Okay.
And like for anybody that's like a super nerd, this is also how the internet works. Like it's worked on, it works on a layered, they call it the OSI system. I don't remember what that means, but essentially not everything is run from the same computer, right? So like
right.
You have your applications run here, your networking is here, everything is on a separate layer.
So they kind of like, it's like the layers are tons of transactions that bundle, and then I'm just making it up, kind of like credit cards. They batch at the end of the day and
Exactly.
they post to the blockchain.
Yep, exactly.
So that makes it way more efficient
Makes
and
it
drives costs down.
correct.
Okay.
It makes it way more efficient, and then your users are not directly interacting with the Ethereum layer where it's going to be more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
They're interacting on these like separate, the next layer up, the layer 2, which is just like it's a separate blockchain, but it gets its security from the Ethereum blockchain. So now there's like the amount of transactions happening on those layer 2s is like exponentially growing, but because they're becoming more efficient too, the actual fees to the users are like fractions of a cent.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really cool. There's tons of like interesting applications that you wouldn't be able to do just on the Ethereum because it would be so like unreasonably expensive, that you can do because it's so cheap on these layer 2 systems.
Okay.
So yeah, it's really cool. It's growing a lot, and I think I'm still very excited about what it's doing. And now you have the largest asset manager in the world, BlackRock, has an ETF to shill. So they're like the Larry Fink is the CEO of BlackRock. He's like on CNBC every week talking about how he's going to tokenize the world and stuff. So it's kind of insane to see that.
What are you long? If you had $10,000 right now, no. Okay, yeah. If you have $5,000 right now, I'm just trying to like all the listeners out there, not users.
Yeah.
Listeners out there, would you say? Obviously not financial advice, but like speculative advice. Would you be like, I'd wait for the dip? Because isn't there a 4-year dip since the history of Inception? Hasn't there always been like a consecutive like 4.5-year dip of like Bitcoin, Ethereum just plummets and then it spikes up to like $100,000 a coin and then it drops down to like $2,000 or something?
Yeah, like what's the saying? History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes.
Ooh, I like that. I never heard that. I love that though.
Yeah, so I would say like I'm not a good trader. I'm not good at timing cycles like that. So I don't have a good
I'm the
yes
worst.
or no answer. Yeah. But the other thing is like for the entire history, I'm about to be very bearish on my asset. I'm the
biggest optimist.
devil's advocate.
Okay.
No, what is it? What's the thing where you're like taking the opposite stance of what you actually
Devil's
believe?
advocate, I think.
Okay, so there's an argument or a possibility that if you look at the entire history of crypto, Bitcoin was started in 2009 after the financial crash. It was almost in response to that. But besides like random dips, it's been like up only stock market. So if there's a chance that we're heading into a global recession, no one's going to be interested in risk on assets. So crypto may not I believe that it's almost inevitable, like 90% chance that our entire financial system moves on to crypto because it's more efficient. It's decentralized, so you don't have to trust. There's no trusted intermediaries to settle transactions. It's all done by mathematics.
Yeah.
And so it's more efficient, decentralized, transparent. Like, there's so much that makes this system better than our current financial system that I think it's inevitable. And now you have companies like BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, who has financial incentive to make this a possibility or make this the likely future, that I think it's almost inevitable it happens. But that doesn't mean that the Ethereum price has to go up.
Sure. Do you think I'm trying to.
And I guess to
Okay.
finish my thought,
Yeah. Sorry.
the price doesn't have to go up for the system to work. I think it will, because you have to have Ethereum to use the network. So the more use it has, the more Ethereum has to be in circulation. Anyway, but if we have a global recession, which there are fears of, people are going to steer away from risk-on assets, which crypto is seen as a risk-on asset.
It's seen, but is it?
Um,
Is it because it's so volatile? People
Yeah,
don't
I think
understand
that's
it. Is
part
that
of it.
the
Yeah.
main risk
yeah.
component of it? I mean, if you're
There's-
systematic risk versus inherent,
Yeah.
I'd say there's very inherently there's not a ton.
Yeah.
Would that be a fair statement, or am I saying that backwards?
I think,
Inherent risk is like it's there, right?
yeah, but there is risk that something better than Ethereum comes out, because it's still fairly young. Like Ethereum started in 2014 or something, maybe 2015. Like, it's possible that a significantly better technology could come out and replace it.
Okay, here's a dumb question. I keep thinking multiple layers, factions, decades down the road, right?
Yeah.
If it's decentralized, isn't that a threat to governments who essentially control the money and money supply, interest rates, and all that stuff? Would they view decentralized currency like that is getting traction as a threat and try to quabble it or squash it before it takes off? Because to me, I'm like, okay, if this is a legitimate thing, and let's just say a quarter of the people, now it's half, all of a sudden you have kind of two factions. One, a decentralized, great, efficient thing that people like, and then you have an inefficient entity, call it essentially a state that, like governments that are like, now they're going to fight it, and now does that create? I think I heard this. I don't know who I did, but isn't that like it's like dynamics of war almost, where it's like you have two opposing, or one that wants to squash something and other people that like something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
And one's decentralized. That's the biggest thing. That's the number one wedge, I think, that drives between. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought, and I used to believe that, but over the years, there's been an introduction of something in crypto systems called stablecoins.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal was, like, you want to be able to move to cash in the system without leaving the system,
Mm-hmm.
because it's still it's agile. You can move quickly. You don't want to leave the system, have to wait 5 days to get your cash in your bank account.
It's a liquid asset buffer between the two.
Correct.
Is that a good way to put it? I don't know.
So multiple companies came out and said, we're going to put dollars in a bank account and mint dollars on the blockchain. So you can go and trade your Ether for US dollar stable coins. So it's 1-to-1 backed by US dollars. That's the goal. And then they can take, like, these companies can make, like, I was going to say a cuss word, but I'm going to hold back. They make a lot of money just by holding these dollars in the bank account and earning interest on them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it makes sense from both parties. There's a demand for it. The companies can make money from it. So as long as they're doing it the right way and actually are backing these dollars in a bank account, you can have a stable asset in a volatile crypto system.
I'm just trying to think, like, what if the stable coin currency that it's tied to gets tremendously devalued?
Yeah, so that's a risk too. But
okay,
I guess from your original question is, why wouldn't, or like, what's the likelihood of a country trying to squash it? I think the only country that could try to squash it is the U.S. And without naming names, there was a group of people that called themselves the anti-crypto army that tried to squash it. But politically, it doesn't make sense to do that because there's over 50 million people in the U.S. that own crypto. That's 15% of the U.S. population.
Right.
Why would you try to like push out 15% of your voting population? You're not earning votes. Like, you're not earning. There's no people that are going to be like, oh, they're anti-crypto, I'm voting for them. But there are a lot of people that are saying, oh, they're anti-crypto, I'm not voting for them. Which was like, there's a significant number of people that would not vote for Joe Biden because of his anti-crypto policies.
Right.
That even he wasn't maybe directly involved in, but he allowed to happen during his
reign.
And then Donald Trump comes out and says, I'm going to be he literally said, I'm going to be the pro-crypto politician in the U.S. Yeah. And like, just because I'm very involved in like the social media of crypto people, a lot of people were like, we're going for we're going for Trump just because he's like going to support us.
I think so. Again, I want to be very clear with me. It's like I don't engage with politics. It's really fun for me to observe these strategies and how people like the data is so in front of us now with speeches and what people say and what they do, and people connect the dots very quickly now. So to me, it's fascinating to see how politicians flip for votes.
Yeah.
And just all this stuff, like Trump has flipped on a lot of things that from his first presidency to this new running now. He's flipped on a ton.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
he was very anti-Bitcoin originally.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, that data point is like interesting. I don't know. It's super fascinating to see too, as much as I don't know, I'm not trying to make this the political thing. I'm just sharing my observations. It's super interesting where after the debate between Trump and Biden, how everyone flipped on Biden because they were like, oh my gosh, it's out in the open. He can't freaking talk. You know what I mean?
So,
I think that's so fascinating. And then he disappeared, and then now Kamala's like,
Yeah. I was, yeah, I know.
It happened so fast, and it flipped so fast. That's where I'm like, because before that, Joe was saying, he's like, I'm running. Yeah, it's like, and then it all happened so fast. And it just, to me, is that the strategy, or are they like, are they scrambling?
Yeah.
It look optically to me, it looks like they're scrambling.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So, I've said privately for over a year that if it was Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, it's not even going to be close, and Donald Trump's going to win, because like Joe Biden's approval rating was so low. Like, I think it was lower than any president that would have won re-election. So like, it's like just that data point, it's pretty clear that he wasn't going to be a good candidate for the Democrats. But then they still pushed forward with him and like presented him as their main candidate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like didn't come up with a better option for people to vote for in primaries is maybe the better way to put it. And then they got to the point, and I even said this before the debate. I said the reason they moved the debate up so early, because usually it's not till like the fall,
to give them
right?
time to pivot.
Yeah, like in case he bombs, they had to have time to pivot. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah,
I just think it was terrible strategy from the Democrats.
Oh yeah, this is again from an optical thing, because I have zero idea what's going on in politics and government and all that stuff. But just again optically, stack my beard. It's like, you hear people say, you hear people say, yeah, Trump fired more people in his administration than Biden did in his entire administration. It's like, okay, let's pretend that's true. I don't know if it's true or not, but let's say it's true. And now it's like you see Joe is kind of like, he's not firing on all cylinders, to be fair, right? I mean, that's apparent.
I don't think Trump is either.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I'd say, if we're saying there's 8 cylinders on both, it's like Joe's on maybe 4, and then Trump's probably on 5 or 6, right? I mean, it's like that. It's like it's like the lesser of two evils is a real statement when you're like, okay, which, but
I also think that people were very tired of the rhetoric from both sides where they're saying, you can't vote Donald Trump. He's going to destroy the country. You can't vote for Joe Biden. He's destroying the country. Like, it's the extremism is not convincing. It's the boy who cried wolf, right?
And I think maybe this is my personal evolution, but the rhetoric and the talking points of pointing fingers at the previous administration for the problems that we have.
Yeah.
There is a delay effect. People we have the data points, we have the laws that were passed during every administration, and the delayed effect and when things expire from, whatever. What was it? Was it 12 years after the Bush administration something expired, tax cuts or something? I mean, it's like there are ramifications that happened way before that are, it's like there's too many variables to point the finger at the last 4 years administration. And so
I agree.
The fact that politicians are still doing that, I think it's probably because it's the most effective for the people who are least informed or don't care. Okay. But I wouldn't even say I'm paying attention. I'm just, I'm like, I don't accept these answers anymore.
Right.
Like that's why I don't, when people are like, who are you going to vote for in the fall? And I'm like, I'm not voting for either one.
Yeah.
It's like, first off, a politician is a politician is a politician.
Yeah.
I was hopeful because Trump was an outsider in his first administration or first presidency. And then he pivoted the last 2.5 years of his presidency. He was trying to get reelected. And that was his sole focus. And I was like, no, it's like, okay, you just punted on me kind of thing.
Yeah. So
I don't know. It's just, I'm not involved, but it's just super interesting, the optics of everything, because they don't work on me.
Right.
And I just see things for what they are. And it's like, I don't know. I just want a stand-up candidate.
Yeah.
That'll work with Congress.
Right.
Which all those politicians are asshats too, and only out for themselves. So I'm kind of like, if they can all collectively, well, actually, no, I heard this. Someone had said, maybe it was Elon, said he would be interested in a government efficiency committee or something.
Yeah.
Like a third party, not government sanctioned or something, where they just come in and make the government more efficient and stuff and save a ton of money. And I was like, ooh, that's an interesting thought. But Congress would have to bless it, and they would never do that. No. So
that's just his corporate mindset showing maybe it would work, but I don't think it makes sense for in a government to do that.
Well, it's like one of those things though. Like I think there's they're resurrecting a case. I think it's like Chevron or some oil company versus the U.S. or something from the 70s, and that's what created the EPA.
Yeah,
and I think that all these companies are now bringing these cases back up for the Supreme Court to look at them again, because they're kind of like these organizations that were developed, like the EPA, were set up with zero regulation. When I say regulation, sorry, no oversight. It was essentially like you're supposed to do this, and now they've expanded their powers, if you will, and it's like now you're talking about budgets for the EPA, and you're like, what the heck? And anyway, so these cases are going to come up and really just say okay, does the government need these organizations, or should they be this big, or should they be more dialed in for real problems? Because problems in the 70s are not relevant. Some of them are not relevant to 2024.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
There's new problems too. Like,
And problems we haven't even thought of yet.
yeah, for sure. I don't think I ever answered your question.
What was my question?
At least I don't think I answered it in
a
the
good
way
way.
I intended to. So
Well,
your
it's
question,
well, yeah,
why wouldn't the U.S. government or governments in general try to just tamp it out? Anyway, I have the bull case for the U.S. government for why crypto is important.
Okay.
So there's all these stable coins.
Mhm.
99%, probably more, of the stablecoin usage on crypto networks is in US dollars.
Mm.
So if they promote crypto and like integrate it into the US financial system, other countries will follow along, and that will cement the US dollar as the world reserve currency, which it already is, but it will make, like, if our entire financial system runs on blockchains, which I've already argued is more efficient and better in many ways, then the US dollar will always be the most dominant currency. Like, there's no coming back. When 99% or more of crypto network stablecoins are US dollars. And I think stablecoins are the best application of crypto networks that we've ever found. Like, because if you live in Turkey, where your Turkish lira is being devalued like exponentially, and you can't like buy US dollars or like store US dollars in your Turkish bank account, but anyone in Turkey, and many people do, have an Ethereum wallet or any other crypto wallet, and they can get US dollars and store their wealth in US dollars and not have to worry about their country devaluing their currency.
Yeah.
Like, that's the most bullish argument, and where the most use has been found for crypto networks is in stablecoins. Because you're not, like, everyone thinks crypto is all about speculation, and a lot of it is. But you can use crypto for the exact opposite.
Right. You can protect your wealth from a devaluing currency.
Yeah.
I guess I just look at, like, isn't the argument the flip argument on that? Like, what if the US government's devaluing their currency?
Yeah.
Can you buy lira or whatever in crypto and stuff, and
then you just swap your US dollars for Bitcoin. Cuz that was the whole idea of Bitcoin, was to create a better gold. Because there's a capped supply.
Yep.
And anybody can access it. It's infinitely divisible, and it's like gold has been used as a store of value asset,
right,
for whatever 1,000 years, because of its properties of scarcity and stuff. And the creation of Bitcoin was in response to the financial crisis of 2008. And even in the first block, like, you can add a message with your Bitcoin transactions. The first block, the message is headline. It's like, Chancellor on the brink of bailout. It was like a headline from an article. I think it was in The Guardian or something, where they're talking about bailing out banks.
Nice, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, there are other options if the US dollar starts devaluing exponentially, which I don't think it ever would, but
I don't know, it's just we're in this weird place where, like, they're saying, like, what's to service the debt? Like, we're every 100 days we're spending $1 trillion.
that's kind of crazy.
Like, I remember, what was it 10, 15 years ago? Like, the government debt was like 6 trillion or something, and everyone was like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. And now it's like, I don't even know what it is, like 31 trillion or something. It's like, it's unbelievably high. It's like, I don't know.
Well, you know what Trump's gonna do to
I don't.
he said he's gonna start a Bitcoin strategic reserve.
Oh, that'll be interesting. We'll see if he gets it.
I was talking to my friend Sam. He was like, "Do you legitimately think that's a good idea?" And I was like, "I don't know. Probably not." Like, is it like? I was actually listening to a podcast about this. I didn't know this. The U.S. government has a strategic cheese reserve. So, like, why stop at cheese?
I suppose, yeah. I mean, to me, that's like the whole thing is like there's certain things. This is what I think. I think that our politicians only know like so many levers, right? And they only look at history, and they've only been in government for so long because they're all in their freaking 60s and 70s. They look at the levers, but now I think it works so much faster. We can synthesize data now we have AI. It's like everything's at our fingertips, and people are starting the veil's coming up as far as like what the hell is going on, you know? But like when I say levers that the Congress can pull, oh, inflation, raise interest rates. How do you counteract GDP? Government spending. And so it's like those are like the buttons they push, and then they're just like, okay, government spending. Let's keep this afloat, you know. And it's like, but it's partially not.
Yeah.
Like, how has it been that the stock market's only gone up? It's like, well, there's so many different reasons, but like inflation has transferred to assets, not so much everyday stuff. It has transferred to everyday stuff to some degree.
Yeah.
But like houses haven't really gone down since the pandemic. They're still super freaking high. Yeah. A $300,000 house is still going for $480,000. It's like what? Cars are more expensive. You know, everything's more expensive. So I think, to me, inflation has transferred to assets a lot more, and our politicians don't know how to do the right thing because they're in a short term game right now.
Yeah.
To either A, get reelected, or B, what's in it for them or their constituents in the short term. And it's like, I don't know. To me, this is going to sound blasphemous, but I feel like I don't know if it's Congress or the president, someone should have longer terms.
Longer terms?
Yeah.
Because you think they would get more done?
I don't know. See, it's like, because what? Is it senators? Are they 6 years?
I don't know.
And that makes sense because then it's kind of like this whole, they get 2 years of a potentially new president. So it's like there is sort of a balancing act in there, but it's almost like, what if you doubled everything? Not doubled. A president gets 2 6-year terms or 1 10-year. I don't know what the right thing is. I'm just throwing stuff out there, but it's like, and then you have Congress have longer terms, but then also have age limits and all these things, like take away things. So then it creates to me, it's like you have to create an environment that emphasizes long-term benefit to everyone, but they've created short-term incentives for, I put it this way. I don't think being a career politician, I don't think that's a job. I think that should be a service. It's like a military service.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do a military career, yes, but I'm saying like, okay, if you want to be a senator, you can only be a senator for 12 years and then you're out.
Yeah.
Now, that would induce a lot of change. It could create a whole other thing where it's like, okay, can the staffers, do they have to change roles or could they be career staffers? Because then you start talking about, well, then you're just a figurehead and then all your subordinates are running the show anyway. So it's like, who's, you know what I mean? There's so many, I'm trying to, for me, it's like, I'm looking at this from like companies, but also governments where it's like, how do you align the right incentives to the benefit of the stakeholders, the people in the case of the government?
Right.
It's like, just because you're going to give one group a bunch of money, taxpayer money, that half the country doesn't care about, but you're getting their votes you need their votes to get voted. It becomes this multi-headed hydra that it's like spend.
Yeah.
Who cares about, it's like I'm only in office for 4 years, YOLO it. And yeah, I'll go down in history as a president and maybe I accomplished 2 good things and 15 bad things, but no one really cares. I got my paycheck and now I'm in history. The hell with it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
it's like a
there's
big,
no right answer.
Yeah.
I always think about like, how do you align incentives? Because if you don't have governors or ceilings or walls to align the right incentives, people will find ways around them.
Yeah.
I
I think it's like what you were saying before, that there's only so many levers you can pull, and extending the term, it's going to change other things. So like there's a balancing act there.
Yeah, and it's like for me, this is what makes me sick, I guess, is if doing the right thing costs 8 years of GDP efficiency, you name it,
Yeah.
to spare, but it's the right thing to do long term.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, eat that shit sandwich. Pardon my French, sorry, but like, it's like you got to do what's right, and it's like, to me, that's why I don't trust politicians. I don't
Is that
trust.
your stomach?
That's my tummy, baby. Ooh, you hear
Dang.
that? Daddy's hungry. But no, so I don't trust politicians because I don't think they don't want what's best for everyone. They want what's best for them and their constituents. And I wish there was 4 parties in this country.
Yeah.
So we could have some balance and some reason.
Yeah. Ranked choice voting.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the thing that is just so, like, I don't get, what am I trying to say? I don't get inspired by politicians because, like, if I look at every clip I've seen from Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Kamala Harris, it's all the other guy is bad. We don't want the other guy. I don't care. Like, maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. You're just telling me that because you want to be elected. Tell me what you're going to do to make the country better. Don't tell me the other person is bad because they do this and this. Tell me what you're going to do to make the country better. And then maybe I'll be inspired by that. But I'm not inspired by telling me the other person's bad. That does nothing for me.
Yeah, I think it's effective and it's short term.
Yeah.
So it's like, can you imagine if you were electing a president? I'm not advocating for this, but if you knew the president was going to be in office for 12 years, do you think people would be a little bit more attentive to what their policies and what their direction would be?
Yeah, probably.
I mean,
I also think it would be a lot more. It would create even more division, don't you think? Because your vote has that much, like 3 times as much impact.
Yeah, and that's where for me it's get 4 parties that have, it's like give balance to it, right? Just give us options, and then the thing is like. Well, this is me put on my tinfoil hat, which I don't really have one, but it's like
it's loose fitting.
It's loose fitting. Yeah, there you go. I like that one. But it's like if you had a legitimate candidate who's like, I'm going to downsize government, I'm going to give more power to the people, I'm going to put term limits on, like really go after internally, like look at the government in the mirror kind of thing, and go after government and fix what problems we do have.
Yeah.
I think that would be a legitimate assassination attempt on that person.
Yeah. But I think
one way or another. But
I think the problem is, like, because we're in a 2-party system, like, everyone can agree that like I say everyone, not the parties, but people all agree that the system is broken.
Mm-hmm.
The parties aren't incentivized to fix it.
Right.
Because if you're introducing a system that, like, you actually can successfully elect a third-party candidate, obviously the two main parties do not have incentives to introduce that system, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's like it's buttering your own bread kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
where it's really unfortunate, and yeah.
Yep.
So
Just
what's the there was a saying I saw, a quote I heard. It was like a is it a monopoly or a
I have no idea what you're trying to say.
it was something like where it's like the a dictatorship is like the worst form of government.
Yeah.
Democracy is a close second because we have two candidates that we can pick or whatever.
Yeah.
Something like along those lines where it's like, yeah, you're totally right. It's like the worst one is one, and we have two.
Yeah.
Oh, so great, you know. So I don't know, but I wish I had all the answers, but it's fatiguing to like, and it breaks my heart because yeah, all the division and how many people are so bent out of shape about, they die on the hill
Yeah.
of each party, regardless if they agree with all their viewpoints.
Yeah.
That to me is like super sad, where it's like, I don't have to agree with you, but I can still be friends with you. I can have a conversation. I'm not informed either, so I'm kind of like, this is how it occurs to me, and I can speak my piece. But it's like, I'm going to be very prideful when people are like, "Who'd you vote for?" I'm going to be like, "I didn't."
Well, just you saying you're not going to vote, it's going to piss off a lot of people.
Yep. Come after me, yo.
Yeah.
Yep. That's your constitutional right.
Well,
yeah, well, I didn't pick either one of those candidates, so tell me that's a constitutional right, my ass.
There's also a subset of people that will see you not voting as a vote for the other person.
I know.
You know?
Yep.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Logically, in which case, I'll say, well, I'm in Minnesota, so it doesn't really it's a blue state, so.
It was like 50-50 when it was Trump Biden, but now I think it's pushed blue.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, you know what I mean though? It's like
I know.
I have a counter argument for each person, and that's where honestly it's like small local government is like you'll see the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And that's where everyone should be more involved with your communities.
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately that doesn't really matter for the country. In my opinion, I guess that's some people would think you're the worst person ever for saying that. Well,
no, I think that's very true. And actually, the only I voted in the primary this year because I was excited about one local candidate and not
another.
Yeah. So, without saying who it was, but
that's fine. Yeah. I think I love people at work don't know which way I fall politically because I'll say one thing that people would be like, oh, he's only like he's profit driven. Oh my gosh, he must be this way. And then I'll say something about like a HR or labor law policy or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, he's the other way. So like I'm completely like I do what's right kind of thing in my eyes.
Yeah.
So it's like my compass is what drives me, not whatever thing else is. So I have a philosophy. I have my own deals.
Yep.
Whatever. So cool.
Yeah,
anyway.
It was funny. Yeah. I got one more story I want to share, and then we can change the subject.
Okay.
Off politics. But
yeah.
So there's my company is based in Wisconsin, but we have another branch that's based in the UK. And a couple months ago, some of my British colleagues were in Wisconsin with us, and we were driving through Wisconsin, and there's just like all the road signs for different candidates and stuff. And so we started talking about it, and one of them goes, can I ask, like, which candidate you guys support, or is that going to create issues? And somebody, like, one of the guys, the U.S. guy sitting in the back seat just goes, yeah, let's not go there. We can't go there. Like, it's so funny. But
see, that's super interesting, right? About just what people from other countries, like, their opinions or thoughts or their views. I mean, I know my sister and I have friends from Europe that, you should come to the United States. they see all the movies with all the explosions and violence, and they think that's what the United States is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. And then I was thinking about it. I have no desire to go to L.A. And I'm like, why is that? Oh, because all the cop shows are usually L.A. cops and corruption and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go to L.A. because all the violence. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't think that's how L.A. truly is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think there's a ton of crime there, but
yeah,
because it's like when you have a monstrosity of a city. Oh my goodness, how do you manage it? Right.
Right.
Sidebar, but yeah, it's like I was like, yeah, I don't have a desire to go to L.A.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy, but
Well, it depends. Like just knowing you, the kind of vacations you take are not the kind of vacations you would
Go to a
have
big city,
in
yeah.
Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what else do you want to talk about?
I do have one thing
yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
bring up
Yeah.
on the last episode, and I totally forgot. So I'm glad I remembered.
fact
this
checker.
No, it's not fact checker. I should actually. I don't even know if I get those
Fact check yourself.
those emails on my phone, but let me see if I can pull that up really quick. And then if not, then I can move on to my other point.
Okay.
But no, I don't have those emails on my phone. So sorry if you sent a fact check last time because didn't write them
We'll
down.
just assume we're right.
Yep, 100%. So I had this discussion with a friend, disagreement, I should say.
Was it a thoughtful disagreement? Vibrant?
Yeah, it was thoughtful. I thought he was wrong. But I think you're gonna have a great opinion on this, so I want to ask you.
Okay.
All right. Say, rich uncle dies, and you get $5 million inheritance tomorrow. Is that enough to retire on and live comfortably for the rest of your life?
If you do nothing, or what do you do with it?
You can do whatever you want. You get $5 million tomorrow. Is that enough for you to say, I can comfortably retire and not work another day in my life?
Oh, I wouldn't retire. I would.
I just knowing you, I knew you would not retire, but that's not the question. Is that enough?
No.
Really?
To not work for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
And then you said to do nothing with it, or just retire?
You can do whatever you want with it.
So I could start a business, but then I'd be working, so that wouldn't count as retirement, right? Is that?
Yeah, I suppose.
Or should I just narrate what I would do with that, and then you tell me if that qualifies for? Maybe that'll give you your answer.
Yeah, do that.
I think I'd probably put. I'd buy probably a small business. I'd continue. Yeah, I'd buy a small business and try to grow it a little bit, and then that would be like a hobby to me.
Like a coffee shop or what?
No, it would be. I think this is what I believe, and I don't know, but I think there's a lot of small kind of niche type businesses out there that the owners did very well at, but they're approaching retirement. They're getting tired. They want to get out. And so it's like they're just looking for a $2 million kick for a business that generates $250,000 in profit every year.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, get me out of this. I'm 68. I want to just retire and be done.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of those that are starting to pop up.
It's probably true.
So for me, it's like I would be curious about something like that, and just getting a modern take on it, and just with my skills and knowledge that I have, growing it to, and then popping, when I get to a certain point, do it with another one and have kind of a small portfolio of companies. That would be really fun for me, because then I could manage and design and create an organization that I think is successful with my own philosophies of business. But I would also emphasize the things that I do want. I want to get married, have kids, so it's like it would be like a hobby. I'd provide like direction stuff, and then so I don't know if is that work? Is that retirement? I don't know. Yes, I think. Are you asking if I would do that tomorrow and get $5 million? And what would I like? Yeah, I'd do it. But
the original question was, is $5 million enough to retire and not have to work another day in your life?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
Depends. Is having fun considered work?
No.
So then hell yeah.
So, yes, my answer was also yes. and I'll explain the numbers behind my answer.
Okay.
You can put all $5 million into the S&P 500.
Live on interest, baby.
Historically, the last 30 years, the S&P 500 has averaged 10% a year. So if you only live off of the money that you're gaining, that's an average of $500,000 a year. That's enough to support a family. That's more than most families make. Like, yes, you can very much live comfortably. Like, understanding that you do have to pay taxes on your capital gains, but still.
Well,
even very much so.
Even on top of that, I mean, just think of where you live too. Like Minnesota's one of the highest tax rates, so it's like you could presumably move to just a 6 month and a year nomad cabin shack in Wyoming with no sales tax or no income tax, and then live wherever you want the rest of the time. But then you save that much more in taxes as well.
You know what I would do?
Tell me.
You were saying you would like buy a little business and build it up. I would move to somewhere where I can have like a little 30 by 40 shop in my backyard, and I just do like
tinker
woodworking projects and building stuff, build furniture for people. Not to make money, because don't have to worry about that, but I would just do it as a hobby and sell furniture.
Yeah.
Be pretty cool.
I think it would be, I think the coolest thing, like, the more, I guess, maybe it's, would you call it maturity? I don't know. But for me, the more it's like I want to, buy a business and shape it to how I think a business in my philosophy should be. And then really for me, it would be, is my style successful or not?
Yeah.
And if it is, then I know that's all I need.
Yeah.
But if it's not, then it's like I'd be consumed with trying to find out why. It'd be like an insanity type thing. But
like, what worked, what didn't work, how can I improve?
It's like I've read so many books, and you hear about all these people who have built great organizations and their management style. When I encounter a organization or a data point, or you hear about something that is counter to what has been successful, I'm just like, oh, what if you did what this other person did that made it so successful at that company? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how different we are. I have zero interest in doing that.
Yeah, I mean, see, and that's the cool thing. It's like I've dreamed about, like, if I won the lottery, which I never would because I never buy a ticket.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like assembling a group of friends who are brilliant in their own right, and they're not perfect. No one's perfect. But like, that's one philosophy I do, or theory, whatever I do believe in, is I know I'm not the smartest guy in the room ever, but I know who is, or who's smarter than me.
Yeah.
And I feel like I can zero in on what they're good at. And so it's like, if I won the $5 million thing, I'd be like, Tim, here's $500,000. Do something with crypto and make it fun, and just, whatever. I'll pay you whatever you want, just to, like, but your job is to learn about crypto and do all this stuff. And like, let's just, educate me, because I'm a fucking idiot. Pardon me. Sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I have a friend. So it's like, you're the crypto friend that's very knowledgeable and all that stuff. It's like, I have another friend who's incredibly knowledgeable at designing, engineering. He's a 3D print nerd, like all this stuff. And it's like, okay, I don't really have an interest in that, but I think it's super interesting that you, I'm interested or it's interesting that you are interested in something that is cool. And so I don't know. I think that'd be the funnest thing, is working kind of with your friends and just like hey, there's no timeline, no whatever, but if you're passionate about it, just keep me involved kind of thing, and let's work on a project together, and then we can both benefit or something, like
Yeah.
that would be the funnest thing, because then you're friends, and then you can get down to the gritty stuff if you want. And then if it becomes too much, then it's like, hey, we can part ways, we can whatever, but it's like I want it to be what is it? Friends first, business partners second kind of thing. Like, because then there's inherent trust where no one's going to screw each other or try to take something from the other person or whatever. It's like,
right.
Like that was like the whole St. Paul house with Jake.
Yeah.
We buy it together, we sell it together. There's no buying each other person out. It gets messy, all that crap. It's inherent. Nope. We cut it off. We're done. And it's like that kind of, we had a glass of whiskey over it, and that was the conversation. And it was like, that's the kind of respect you give each other and stuff as friends. So
what whiskey was it?
I think it was Buffalo Trace.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It wasn't the first glass, though. I know that for sure. But yeah, no,
I was thinking about that earlier, actually, when you were talking about asset prices going up from inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Have you looked at how much that house is worth? Like if you went, because you sold it, like 2021? Or was it late 2020?
It may have been late 2020.
So I bet that house,
it's over $300K now.
Is it?
Yeah, I think we sold it for $267.
Do you remember what you paid for it? Like what?
$217 was what?
Oh, really?
Or no, maybe it was $210 or $211.
I thought it was going to be like double what you paid for it. But
it might be. So I probably looked at it a year or two ago.
Oh, it might be then.
So you should look up. Yeah.
I'm guessing. Don't say the address.
I'm guessing 316 is what it's probably listed on like Zillow or whatever. Zestimate or whatever.
Let's see.
I think when I checked last, it was like 304, which was like a year ago or so.
Dun, 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 dun. 332.
God damn, really?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That's
it's a
crazy.
Great location. What's interesting is I rode yesterday from Lake Phelan to Stillwater.
Yeah.
And back. And I drove around the east side for a little bit.
Just reminiscing,
but really, I remember it was like rough when we were there, but there was like every other house had an overgrown yard. Like,
really,
if I were the city, I'd be like, or if I were the mayor of St. Paul, I'd be like, all right, guys, I'm not saying you have to like do everything, but I'm going to start fining everyone for not having mowed grasses. Like in a reasonable. I'm not going to be unreasonable, but it's like you can't just have 1.5 foot long grass in your yard and not do anything about it.
Yeah.
And it's like I still am a believer that in like 10 years the east side is going to be the new northeast Minneapolis. I'm still convinced. I know everyone's like, "Oh, you idiot," but it's like I'm convinced. It's like there's a lot of real estate over there. If you just get someone with big deep pockets to like buy a few blocks and bulldoze those old shitty houses.
Yeah.
And put up like reasonably nice houses or whatever.
Yeah.
You could make that neighborhood in that area really, really it's so nice, really.
Like Grand Ave. You could just remake Grand Ave with new houses. Yeah.
Yeah. Payne Avenue and Arcade's kind of a problem, but that they've got new businesses. It's like I think they need to incentivize, in my opinion, they need to incentivize businesses that invite the community out.
Yeah.
And not like, and this is the other weird thing. I mean, I think we were talking about this not on the podcast, but there's like one or two owners that own like all the real estate on Payne Avenue and Arcade. Half those buildings are vacant. So It's like they own them outright and they're just paying the taxes, but what the hell are they doing? They're not doing anything with that. Like, why?
Like, not where the restaurants are? Like, there's other
Not where the restaurants. Yeah, like the vacant buildings that are just empty. It's like they have to be owned outright, because why would you be
Right.
you know,
yeah.
paying a mortgage or a loan on a building that has no revenue coming in.
Yeah.
So anyway, super interesting. But yeah.
So you get $5 million. Maybe it could be you. It's
Yeah.
Probably not enough.
Well, it's like, yeah, I know the very first thing, if I won the lottery, it would be like, first thing I would do is I'd hire a CPA firm and an attorney or a lawyer, law firm, and just say, okay, you guys going to guide me through all this stuff. I know what I want to do, but I need you guys to do it to protect me in every step of the way, because I don't know what that looks like. I'm a smart dude. I'm not like a know all be all kind of thing, right?
But you know what you don't know.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
At least I think so.
Yeah.
And I would hire them to show my blind spots when I'm like, but yeah, so.
You know the Dunning-Kruger effect? You know what that is?
Is that where you go into someone else's dreams and like kill them or something?
No, it's like where there's like a curve where when you're learning about something, you gain more and more knowledge, and I don't know what the two
Inflection
X and
points?
Y
Okay.
axis on the graph are.
Okay.
But basically, the more you learn about something, the more you feel like you know about it, and then you get to a point where you keep learning about it, but you realize there's so much that you don't know that like there's like a trough.
Sure. Okay.
And then you keep learning, and then you realize you know more and more and more and more. But it's like, you get to a point where you realize you don't know enough.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a counter to that graph that you talk about, but it's a quote that I read the other day from a book I'm reading that really, really resonated with me. It's once you know it, or after you know it all. It's the learning that happens after you know it all that matters.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh,
I like that. Yeah.
Because it's pretty much saying you'll never learn everything.
Right.
But always learning is fun.
Yep.
So.
What a way. Let's end it right there.
All right.
Beautiful.
That's a good idea. It's been an hour and almost 2 hours. Wow.
Really?
It's 10:55 a.m.
Oh yeah, but we didn't. We were hanging out a little bit before.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
started. Yeah.
That's true.
Cleaning up your mess.
I want to blame Peaches, but I know it's not her fault.
There's like, she was involved. Let's say that.
An accomplice?
Yeah, she was an accomplice. All right.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, y'all.
Adios.